Shaman,
What's he doing?
everything okay, buddy? I'm like getting...
I'm getting very uncomfortable right now.
Yeah. What?
Something wrong?
What's up?
You guys recorded the last two without me.
Well, yeah, dude. Duh. Absolutely. You have no free time. You know what you could use, though? After all of that? And what me and Angelo can use, too. A vacation.
Oh, yeah, that would work.
Where were you guys thinking?
Great Britain.
Boo! I want something cooler.
Ah, fuck.
I'm thinking Peru.
Yeah.
What are you guys feeling?
That feels
You
nice.
guys like Peru?
Jungly,
What?
tropically.
Uh-huh.
What does Peru have that England doesn't have?
Well, for the hit movie Paddington in Peru, I guess Paddington. He was in there for the first scene, and that's it.
Oh. That's
Oh,
what
and the
we're
last scene. Yeah, anyway, yeah. Hi, guys. This is the Super Shenanigans Variety Hour. I'm Liam.
doing. I'm Shaman.
I'm Paddington.
Yeah, sure, bro.
No, I'm sorry. It's me, Angelo. Everyone's favorite. I know. Hi.
Hey, guys. Shaman's back after getting in that horrible car crash.
Yeah.
I got
that
better.
killed him. Yep. Took
Yeah,
a lot
what?
longer than we thought, though.
Oh, God.
But we all went, and saw a great movie, or the sequel to a great movie. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
A sequel to a great movie that we all enjoyed. You guys know it. You guys probably love it. Paddington 2.
Yeah, if you're watching this one, you're probably a Paddington head.
You're probably you're probably Paddington's biggest fan. So
Biggest
for those who aren't, Paddington's greatest defender.
Like me.
Paddington, yep, like you. Paddington
Famed
is a
Paddington
series.
fan.
Oh my gosh! Watch your fucking mouth around me. Paddington is a film series about a bear from Peru who is sent to live in the UK in England after his Aunt Lucy can no longer take care of him and goes into retirement. And the first two movies are, I think, classics, especially the second one. The second one's probably one of the best children's movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen it, I'm gonna link the episode where we talked about them in the description down below. And watch our opinions on that to get caught up on it. But we love Paddington. We think they're very well put together movies. They're shot very well. They're very sweet. The performances are very like heartwarming and genuine, and it's just, overall they're very good movies. Did you guys agree?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
wholesome time. Very.
I think
very
so
sweet.
much so that I'd rather watch Paddington than whatever else was out that same day.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. I think I'd rather watch Paddington than whatever
Yeah.
else came out on the same exact day.
I
too.
don't know what else came out that day, but I definitely prefer Paddington in Peru.
Yeah, I wanted a good comic book film.
Yeah, my favorite comic book movie, Paddington
In Peru.
in Peru.
In Peru. I don't even. That's not what they sound like there.
No.
So, there are a couple things that are funny about the release of this movie. So, number one, and this pissed me off. I don't know about you guys, but it released in the United Kingdom on November 14th in 2024.
This is like months ago.
We didn't get this shit till Valentine's Day, bro.
Yeah.
What a stupid. In the internet age, you can't be doing this, man.
Was there anything that happened for Oh, Sonic.
Was
Yeah.
Sonic out in November? Yeah, I guess they wanted to avoid Sonic.
November, December timeframe, I guess, was a little dicey. But what else were they really beefing with in November outside of like the December movies of Mufasa, the Lion King prequel, and
Which
Sonic
did
the
great.
Hedgehog 3?
Which
Paddington
did do
looks,
pretty good.
Yeah, that one was pretty
That-
good.
Paddington's animal model looks way better than fucking Mufasa animal model.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get
it's,
the models later.
it's absurd.
Even the
but-
fucking first movie looks better.
Yeah.
But in the United States, where we live, we got it on Valentine's Day, where you could have a dual screen experience of Captain America: Brave New World and Paddington in Peru.
That's
which
what
we
came
didn't
out?
do. We only watched Paddington in Peru. We did not watch Captain America.
Whoa. But I wanted to watch
Nothing.
Red Hulk. I wanted to watch
Yeah.
Harrison Ford.
That would
Like
be
and
so
subscribe
real.
and give us money for the tickets if you want us to see Captain America: Brave New World, because the only way I'm seeing this movie is for free.
Yeah.
That's no Barbenheimer.
It's no Barbenheimer. It's just Paddington for me.
Captain in Peru. That's
I'd like that movie more.
Paddington Brave New World.
Vibranium has been discovered in El Dorado.
Hey, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Liam.
Censor that word.
Now this movie is the third of a trilogy. I believe it's been confirmed that we're gonna get a Paddington 4, but
Yeah.
it wasn't always so sure that we were gonna get this Paddington 3. Paddington 2 came out in 2017, if you guys remember, and even if we got it in 2025, like, it came out in 2024. But 2024 is still a pretty sizable gap between releases. And we lost a couple people here in the shuffle. Most noticeable is we have lost our queen. Our queen, Sally Hawkins, as Mrs. Brown.
Oh, she was so good too. In Paddington 1 and 2, she's like such a great heart and motherly figure. And then now,
She's probably my favorite character.
out of the human
that
cast
based
for
off
sure.
performance. And she was replaced by Emily Mortimer, who I don't think by any means did a bad job,
No.
but I don't think she's as iconic as
Yeah.
Sally Hawkins. But that's not all, okay? Make no mistake. There was sort of a passing of the guard here between a lot of the stuff. So the original two Paddington movies were directed by Paul King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he left to go direct Wonka, and wouldn't you believe it, Sally Hawkins also left to go be. She never gave a reason why she left, but she did show up in Wonka as a character.
I
So take that how you will.
So
This
scheduling
film-
conflicts.
This film had a little bit of material written by Paul King, the director of the first two.
Okay.
But it was storied by, so they wrote the story and then a script was written based off of that. The story was written by Paul King and Simon Farnaby, who also worked on the first two.
I see.
And would you believe me if I told you he left to write for Wonka?
Simon too.
Paul King.
He wrote for Wonka.
Are you telling me that like the entire cast left for Wonka?
Yeah. Paul King
Yeah,
was
like
like, let me eat up everyone real quick and take them all to Wonka Land.
And Mark Burton. And Burton actually did help with the script. The script was written by Burton, John Foster, and James Lamont. And I'm pretty sure James Lamont also did a little bit of work on Paddington 1 and 2. But if you can tell, we've lost a couple of the voices that made Paddington 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so, it leads to the question, like, hey, is this going to be as quality of a product? Ben Winshaw, the voice of Paddington himself, in, like, I think it was 2022 or something, said that, like, he hadn't even seen a script yet. People weren't sure this movie was going to come out. And it wasn't until, I believe, 2023, where they actually began principal photography and stuff, and they actually finally started getting the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So pretty big gap until they were able to get started on the next one.
2023 is when it started production, basically.
Yes, when it went into production, pretty much was 2023.
Wow.
That's like a year.
Principal photography was July to October. It was shot in the UK, Peru, and a little bit of Colombia as well.
It was in Peru.
Yes, they did shoot a sizable chunk of it in Peru. In the UK, they shot the London scenes in England. They also, the home of retired bears was a set, obviously, in the UK. And a lot of the riverboat scenes were shot.
That's not a real place in Peru.
No.
Dude, I wish there was a home for retired bears in Peru.
They didn't build that shit in Peru.
Well, they should have.
True. And
Give a home to those fucking bears, man.
when they're going in the riverboat, a lot of that stuff is the riverboat is
Practical.
a set
Yeah.
is a practical effect / set in England.
Yeah.
With backgrounds from mainly Colombia. Colombia is where they got a lot of the river stuff from.
That's basically Peru, right?
Dude, I'm American. I don't know geography like that.
It's South America, so
Yeah. Pull up a map, Liam.
Give us the
Yeah, give us the distance between them. And you know, a lot of the other stuff was shot in Peru and, you know, a little bit of Colombia still. They split off into 2 teams and gathered a lot of backgrounds from both of them. If you guys just want to get further into production and stuff like that, Angela, you did a lot of research as far as the CG models went into. Do you want to talk about that at all?
yeah, absolutely. So I believe if I have it still pulled up on my phone, if not, I mean, I could pull it up again. But a lot of the work that they translated over from Paddington 1 and 2 came a lot in terms of like the UK sets, as well as Paddington's model himself, as well as Aunt Lucy. But everything else they had to basically whip up brand new using the new locations and settings.
I think it even said in the thing that Paddington was
his
heavily retooled.
Yes, and his famous coat was also heavily retooled to be more lifelike and realistic and have a much better flow, specifically for this movie, and all of it filmed in 4K. And speaking of Peru, the Machu Picchu set wasn't closed off to the general public, so they had to digitally paint over tourists and visitors.
Matte painting over it.
Do matte painting over it, so that way they could get rid of everyone. But yeah, they to build off what we were saying. Which is
fascinating. I didn't realize they really went to Machu Picchu for that.
Yeah, they were really in Peru, in Machu Picchu, to make sure that Paddington, everything he touched, could be perfectly recreated in CG. So they had to go to these sets, really study the stonework and everything, and rebuild it all. So
yeah,
if your fucking name is Paddington in Peru, I'd expect you to film in Peru.
Yeah.
You'd be popping out if you did it.
It's not like Hollywood Studios, which is the main like thing that we're used to, like, you know, shooting stuff on location. It's pretty cool when stuff's shot on location now, I think.
Yeah,
that's bonus point.
When it's a foreign country to where the production crew is from.
Yeah,
I don't
and
even think the MCU does that.
no, the MCU
Never.
films all their stuff in green
MCU
screens
can't
in
even
Atlanta.
Shoot on location. They can't even shoot on location in a field in the MCU.
Yeah, all their green screens and blue screens. But the name of the
yeah,
production company is Framework or Frame Store.
Every interactable object is recreated in CG that Paddington touches, which is obviously like a lot of asset work.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So that I'm sure must have taken forever.
Yeah, Herculean efforts for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the model for Paddington looks very good.
I think in this movie the CG
And the
models
fur texture.
probably look the best they've looked in any of the
Yeah, I would
movies.
say the best, easily.
I also
It's really
think
impressive.
I want to bring up a bit some other stuff. So we also, through the resources that we're finding for 3, we've seen a little bit more about how they initially did the model, and I think it's really interesting how they used programs for other stuff. Frame Store. So in the original Paddington, there were 760 effects shots that they had to do, and
Yeah.
570 of those shots had Paddington in it. So obviously, you know, that's a lot of shots.
Yeah.
They had to really try and emulate the stop motion version of the character, I think is what it says here. There's a stop motion TV series for Paddington. Stop motion Paddington didn't move all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was very much like he was very low key, and they tried to translate that into like his actions, and I think that comes across very well. And I think
Yeah.
it works. He's very much not over animated, which number one I think feels definitely very like British gentleman-y. Like he's very much a polite little guy. He's not like bouncy and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's
I
not
think
a.
that works for the character.
He's not a rubber
Right,
hose
no
cartoon.
American.
Yeah.
He's not zany.
Mm-hmm.
And they also did some interesting stuff. So the hair system was proprietary. They used the hair system made for the polar bears in the Golden Compass. And I don't know if either of you guys have ever seen the Golden Compass, but that makes sense. The bears look good as fuck.
Yeah, they look really good in that movie. The Golden Compass.
Watch it if you feel like it. It's not that great.
It's not that great. I mean, but it's good CG wise for the most part.
And they also Paddington's not made of like pure muscle. He's like a bit of a schlubby bear.
Yeah, he's a little guy. He's a
a
little Winnie the Pooh for sure. You know.
So they used this element tissue solver. It's either F-Lab, I think is how they want it to be said, because it's lowercase f, uppercase L. So I think it's F-Lab, but I'm gonna call it Flab because
I think Flab's funnier.
Because they used it to render his fat, and that was used for horse muscles in A Winter's Tale. And Paddington was the first project where they had to use it for fatty tissue. It's ever been used for that. I think they did a very good job.
Yeah, no, for sure.
The model looks great. Other models look great too.
Yeah,
the alpacas. I didn't realize that the alpacas were CG.
Yeah, they were all CG.
Like there's not
That's
there's not a single shot where there's really a llama there. I thought that like they interchangeably went between like some real llamas and some CG, but
yeah, especially
no,
during some of
CG.
the final chase scene, like you would assume, right? Like have like some sort of dummy and then have the llama run, but no, yeah, it was just all CG, which goes to prove how hard and how well they were able to work on making this feel relatively grounded and realistic in terms of the characters' actions, but still be fun and family friendly in terms of like the humor involved within those actions.
This movie uses a lot of like plating and chroma key and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's mostly like plating on top of each other. It's so sick. So they again, one good example is the riverboat scene. Where Paddington, there's a video that maybe I'll link to it in the description as well. Man, I'm really adding a lot of work. Where they show some of the process. It's like maybe like 2-3 minutes. It was on Variety. I think they posted it to their own YouTube channel, the film score YouTube channel. So there's the practical set of the boat on a blue screen.
Yeah.
Then we have the backgrounds, which again for the river scene was mostly like
Colombia,
I think all Colombia for the river stuff. So that's plated behind, and then we have Paddington, animated on top of it, and they use that. That's a very easy example, but they use it all the time because he's a CG character. They'll take there'll be a shot of him overlooking a mountain, and we'll have the background plate of footage of the mountains that they've got. And then they're going to, in the foreground, make, like a little perch for him to stand on and then put him on it. Or they'll, record the Browns on some studio set in England. And then they will key them in to the forest and stuff like that. And it's just, I think it's really cool how they're able to put it all together. I don't often dive into, a lot of effects in that way. But so it was really fun to learn about.
Yeah, no, it's super neat, and I think a lot of the effects within the Paddington series are all just super solid. God, what are they called again? Framework? Yeah, Framework. I mean, they did great work on these movies, and with Paddington in Peru, it just shows how much they leveled up from 1 to 2 to 3, and really building out these very believable environments. Because, like you said, with the chroma key and plating of the ship, or the riverboat, I mean. It's
a ship still.
It's a ship, yeah. It's indistinguishable from the background. It looks like it's there. It's really solid stuff.
It's a really good-looking movie.
Yeah.
Think about how much worse this movie would be if they weren't absolutely fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
One thing I'll say to finish it off, this little section, is there was a quote. I forget exactly how it went, but it was essentially they're dedicated to making sure that Paddington lives in the same world, or the performances live in the same world as Paddington, and Paddington lives in the same world as everything around him. So they're very dedicated to not make him look too out of place.
Yeah, they want you to be immersed and believe that he's there in that world.
Yeah, he's not like very cartoony. I think they do a very good job. I think this is a very good looking movie. Just as a movie, what do you guys think of Paddington in Peru?
I think it's pretty solid for a children's film, for sure.
Yeah, I think it builds off of everything. I mean, not only the CG, but in terms of cinematography, writing, I mean, it builds off of the other ones pretty well. I think there's some aspects that might retread some similar ground, but overall, it's a really solid overall project.
Well, as its own movie, I think for the most part, it is pretty enjoyable to watch. It's not like, I don't think this is like groundbreaking, like it doesn't change my world.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely do enjoy, I think the writing is still very funny. I found myself laughing, especially at Mr. Brown's lines pretty frequently.
Mr. Brown's so good.
And it sucked because we were the only ones in the theater laughing at the Mr. Brown lines. It was embarrassing as fuck.
That's okay. We relate so much to him. Yeah, it's like, take a risk. All right, yeah.
We were the only adults without children who were under the age of like 65 who were in there.
Mr. Brown got like a nice.
Mr. Brown was put in there for us.
He's like, dude, what the fuck is this movie? What is going on? Why are we doing this shit? I'm like.
Yeah. The entire like first. Yeah. The entire first act, he's like, I don't know if we should really be doing this, and then constantly popping to his head, he's like, seeing his American news CEO who's like, take a risk. It's really funny.
Let's give a baseline of what this movie's about. So
Yes.
Paddington, as we know, is from Peru. At the start of this movie, he gets his British citizenship, and everyone's very happy for him. But maybe he's feeling a little homesick for Peru, and he gets a letter from the Home of Retirement Bears, written by the Reverend Mother there, who tells Paddington that Aunt Lucy has been acting a little strange and he should come visit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tells the Brown family, and Mrs. Brown, again now played by Emily Mortimer, is very upset that her family is pretty much all grown up and they don't really spend time together as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Brown's company, his insurance company, just got bought by an American played by a British person, by the way.
So they got Haley Atwell, which is like the most British lady that you could have gotten. That's been an American project. Like the entire time, like, oh wow, that's the lady from Mission Impossible and MCU.
She's playing the British person, yeah. But this American, because of Americans, is like, hey, as an insurance company, we should embrace risk. Excellent business strategy, by the way. Having to pay out money all the time. It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
For an
No,
insurance
you
company.
deny them. You deny them and push them.
Deny. But she sees Mr. Brown as not much of a risk taker, you know, which is kind of his thing, is he's a little bit more reserved of a person, and says, go take a risk. So Paddington goes to this family and says, hey, I gotta go to Peru.
How many people you think Mr. Brown has denied?
Probably 0. He's a good guy.
I don't know.
Now with the new American CEO, I think he
you're
has
right, you're
to
right.
deny way more people of their
Nah,
insurance
because
claim.
they have to take risk.
You gotta take a risk. You gotta deny these people.
Mrs. Brown wants to go on a fun family vacation so everyone can spend time together, and Mr. Brown, initially reluctant because of how dangerous Peru could be, goes, this is exactly what we've been waiting for. So they go to Peru, reach the Home for Retired Bears, and find out that Aunt Lucy has gone missing. And so they go on a quest to go find her, and it looks like she's on the quest to try and find El Dorado in her ripe old age of like 85 or however old she's supposed to be.
Yeah, she's like ancient for a bear. She's so old.
So they team up with Antonio Banderas, I don't know his character's name.
Antonio Banderas. He's so good.
And his daughter, and try
okay.
and locate Aunt Lucy / El Dorado. So pretty simple, pretty fun premise, but I will say I agree a little bit with some people saying it feels like some sort of like special. Like a TV special.
Yeah.
From a premise perspective.
The premise is like very basic, you know, like where the other Paddington movies had relatively basic premises still, but it still felt like a little bit more thematic, tying to who Paddington is. and who the Brown family are. This one felt a little bit more just kind of like, hey, we're really just kind of focused on the Paddington and Aunt Lucy thing, so here's like a conflict to follow.
I think probably a complaint about this movie, honestly, is that the Brown family doesn't do much of it.
Yeah, especially within this
Worse
conflict.
than anyone before, yes. So
Yeah.
I will say, the
Now
children
at this time I expect
are essentially non-characters at this
they're
point.
not-
The inventor's son just kind of is into chilling, aka doing nothing all day, which is pretty silly when you're an inventor who can make a lot of money off
I mean,
of it.
that's fine. You can. I'm not upset with their initial premise as characters.
Well,
but
yeah, but then the way he learns the lesson is he invents a cool little grabby thing, and it helps out, and he's like,
Yeah.
dang, that feels good to help out, I guess. And then the daughter is going to college, and Mrs. Brown is having a really hard time with that. But the daughter isn't really having that hard of a time with it, and I guess the way they try to go with it is near the end they think Paddington is going to leave the family. And then she goes, I see how it's hard for you, which I'm sorry, isn't really that compelling of a character arc. And she doesn't contribute to the solution whatsoever. Mr.
really.
Brown, I think, is the closest one to having an arc. But
Yeah.
Mr. Brown had the same arc he had the last two movies.
yeah.
Especially with the last one too, you know, where he was kind of pushed to be a little bit more actiony and, you know, hop from train to train and do all this crazy shit. In this one, it's like, there's a dangerous spider and we're in the jungle. Oh no, I'm Mr. Brown.
Is he gonna pick up
Oh!
the spider?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
a spider.
Maybe in about 5 minutes he will.
Yeah.
Perhaps, like, honestly, there should have been a lot more family turmoil in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's masked by the fact that generally I think the performances are still pretty good. I think that obviously Mr. Brown, who is played by his name is Hugh Bonneville
He's great.
or Bonneville, is just as good as he's always been. I
He's
think
great.
that he has the best lines in this movie.
Great delivery.
Every scene he's in, he's great.
Mhm.
I love the one where he's talking like to the police about a missing bear. And like, yes, I lost a bear in the forest. I'm not sure I like your tone.
Yeah. I'm not sure I quite like your tone.
I think he delivers a little bit on the premise of like British person in a new environment in a way that's fun, and how the
Yeah.
other family I think doesn't really struggle to adapt as hard, or
Yeah.
really at all. Mrs. Brown by Emily Mortimer, I think is good. I still feel motherly warmth from her, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's a little distracting.
It's a little
Bro,
distracting for her to be
That
there.
fucking scene in the second movie where she's like trying to save Paddington's life.
Yeah, you've developed such a strong relationship between Sally Hawkins as the mom and Paddington, and they're like super tight connection. And then in
They
this
are.
movie, since Sally Hawkins isn't here, they can't do shit with it.
Yeah, they have flashback scenes, and they had to like redo footage of Paddington 1, where like
Yeah.
to avoid showing any of the Browns' faces, because then you'd see that Mrs. Brown is Emily Mortimer instead, and that would be a problem.
Yeah.
She, Sally is like, she's pretty integral.
Yeah. She's the extra connecting glue that made that family dynamic work. And Emily Mortimer did a good job. But like we said, it's just kind of like, it's hard to follow up after two really
Sally-
solid ones.
You could also
Was
say that she
fantastic.
didn't have much to do. She didn't really do
Yeah.
much in that film.
Mhm.
I think if there's more something there. There's also the grandma who exists.
Oh,
She's not the grandma. She's
the
Mrs.
nanny.
Bird. She works for
she's
them.
She's just a
She
fucking
just
lady.
works for them, but they
Yeah, the
take her
nanny.
everywhere. But she's the nanny to like some 16-year-old.
yeah. And she's just their maid.
I think that she's also very good in this, and she gets mostly like solo time in this.
Yeah, where in the
They
other
pair
movies she
her up
doesn't really
against-
get that too much.
They pair her up against Olivia Colman's the Reverend Mother, who I think is a show-stealing character and probably my favorite original character in this.
Yeah.
She is so fucking funny.
She's so
I
funny
think-
and so just like awkward and strange. Like she plays the
Uh-huh.
like, I'm very suspicious, but don't worry about it angle so well. She's like, suspicious? No, you know, like
This is just my secret little alcove in the wall where you have to play some keys on a piano to open.
And there's red glowing lights that are very evil looking, but don't worry about it. It's
and
not
demon
suspicious.
paintings on the wall, kind of.
Yeah.
And I own a firearm.
Yeah, of course I own a plane.
Of course I own a plane and a giant fucking musket, you know?
she's just great. So she's playing a villain who's so obviously the villain, but is trying so hard to make you think she isn't the villain, no matter what shitty circumstances she finds herself in as far as being exposed. And she's great. I think she's probably the standout performance of this film, and I think the reason to watch it, I think, is for this character. I think that she's the easily best part of the movie.
That being said, Antonio Banderas is Antonio Banderas.
He is Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas is Phoenix Buchanan from the last movie.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is like they reuse a lot of those kind of same tricks that they did with Phoenix Buchanan to kind of like tee up your immediate antagonist and then have that like obvious twist for the Reverend Mother towards the end as we're kind of building up to her meeting back up with the family.
Antonio Banderas' character is a family who has the gold sickness from The Hobbit, and really want to find the gold of El Dorado. And his whole family line has been cursed to die trying to get this gold. And they manifest as ghosts, which I don't think are real ghosts. I think
he's just crazy.
I think he's just insane. But
I'm okay with that.
They're constantly talking to him, trying to push him to do nefarious deeds,
like
to find this
potentially
gold.
Murder his own daughter.
Eat Paddington? That's
Paddington for no reason. Yeah, it's like, and then we get killed a bear. Antonio Banderas is like, we haven't even found El Dorado yet.
Okay,
yeah,
but kill and eat the bear.
Kill and eat him. Bear stew. Bear stew so good.
We haven't even found it yet. His daughter was left behind by him in his search for gold. Antonio Banderas was, I guess, broke the curse by not dying looking for it.
Yeah.
And she wants him to promise he's not going to look for gold anymore, and that's his character's big struggle, is his daughter, who is his family of the future, who loves him, and his family from the past, who are constantly telling him to do the opposite, and to be selfish and mean, from the past and legacy and all that. And what matters to him more? His daughter.
Yeah.
His daughter.
Yeah. It goes about the way you expect, yeah.
It's a kid's movie.
It's a kid's movie. Yeah. He's not gonna...
He wasn't based.
He's not gonna actually murder his daughter in front of Paddington. Paddington gets blood splattered across his face. He's like...
and the big twist at the end...
That would have been good. That would have made the movie so much better.
Paddington's like, oh.
The big twist is that the Reverend Mother is actually his cousin, and somehow she came to realize that you need a bear to find El Dorado, and got a job at the home of retired bears, because she's like, well, that's as good a place as any to start looking.
She didn't make that fucking place. That place existed.
Yeah, it just existed. She just got there and was like, hey, can I work for you guys? I'm a nun, I swear. Please.
Can I have a job? They're like, yeah, sure, you can be in charge. Nice.
Good job, you're in charge now. Score!
I think it's pretty ridiculous.
It's a super ridiculous premise, but I think it works really well considering the past two movies and actor Hugh Grant looking for an ancient treasure left behind by his carnival
I think that
ancestors.
The premise isn't unprecedented. I think it's more the setting that kind of
heightens it.
I guess, heightens it. It's a little bit more of a fantastical setting where we're dealing with, like, ancient myth and stuff like that, that makes it maybe, like, a little bit less...
Bear myth. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah,
bear
ancient...
myth.
I fucking called it, though, when we walked into the theater.
Very heavily tied with
Angela
bears.
did call it going into the theater.
I was like, watch them say some shit about ancient bear civilization and that Paddington comes from it, while we were watching the shit-ass previews before the movie.
And lo and behold,
Paddington's
comes from the ancient El Dorado defending bears. And that's why he loves marmalade.
That's why he loves oranges and marmalade.
Because it turns out the gold of El Dorado is not gold. It is No, that would be stupid. It's
That'd be silly.
oranges.
It's
which
an
is,
orange grove.
Which I think is the funniest thing ever, and I love it.
It's pretty good.
I think that's a funny twist for this type of movie.
I think overall, too, that twist being like, because as soon as they introduce El Dorado, I'm like, what the fuck is this movie doing? Like as soon as Antonio Banderas started yapping about El Dorado, I'm like, what's going on here? He's like, I must find El Dorado, and it's like, wow, I didn't realize. Yeah. I didn't realize we were going full adventure movie on this one. Okay, hey. And they do Indiana Jones stone ball rolling thing, chasing, yeah.
The action's pretty fucking good, too.
Honestly, yeah, the action's really fun within the film.
The boat crash, I think, was pretty well executed. It was pretty intense, or as intense as a children's movie can probably get with a boat crash.
Everything really flowed well too, like Paddington always had this really nice overlapping action of trying to get things under control, and whenever pandemonium happened, like it always felt super chaotic, like on the boat crash where Paddington's trying to speak to the Browns, it gets tied up in the communication system and then flies off with the wheel, so now the boat's fully out of control. It's just super fun stuff.
I think it's well choreographed, and I think that now that I also know for sure that the scene near the end with at Machu Picchu, like, that a lot of that shit's practical, so that's why it looks like impactful a lot of the times. Like that boat actually got destroyed, bro.
Yeah.
Like they messed that boat up. I think that it all looks really good.
Looks great.
I think the movie is shot very well. I think it has equally warm colors as the other ones.
Yeah, a lot of great. I noticed a lot of great like orange to blue contrast as well within a lot of the nighttime scenes. A lot of good like walking by candlelight or some sort of extra light source that kind of helped really tie in the cool to warm aesthetics and really make a very interesting color profile.
Especially again on the boat, whereas the blue of the outdoors and the indoor of the boat.
Yeah.
When they're more like outdoors at nighttime, where he's overlooking the treetops. You have a lot of great use of negative space. With the night sky. I think that it is a very good looking movie still.
Yeah.
Director of this one, whose name is Dougal Wilson. Which, by the way, this is his first feature film.
Wow! Congrats, Dougal.
Yeah.
So first isn't too bad.
Yeah.
This was not too bad for him.
I could do better.
Let's see. Good old Dougal Wilson.
He didn't do anything else. No writing. No.
He
nothing?
did. He did. Not for Paddington. He has done short films and commercials.
Damn.
Wow.
But this is his first feature. Which is there's a big difference between commercials and feature films.
Oh yeah.
Trust me, that's a big old difference. But as a film, I think that this is a very fun adventure. It's a little bit zany, but I do still definitely enjoy it. I think the performances mask. The performances, I think, mask a lot of the issues that I have with the plot.
Yeah.
Because if you're just having such a good time, the music I think is very, very fun. The musical number of the nuns when Paddington is coming over, I think
really funny.
was a very fun musical number.
That was wild as hell.
I thought it was great. Olivia Colman absolutely ate up that performance.
Yeah.
Super corny, like tongue in cheek, like screen winking.
Yeah. Very fourth wall breaking. Just really winking at the audience the whole time.
This movie's just so fun, man. I think it's a good time. But do we think that it's a great sequel?
So, I think the biggest detracting factor of this sequel is the lack of development with the thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't agree.
Time. I think it's about time where like they.
I think there's one bigger issue, but I'm gonna let you cook.
Okay.
Go ahead and cook.
Like we've had 3 movies now, and the children have literally done basically nothing.
Not that I disagree with the point. I just think there's one bigger issue.
Okay. Well, And like, surely there could have been something with like, okay, you guys want to do like the families growing up or whatever the hell. Why don't you make it feel a little bit more like the family's divided?
Yeah,
Just a bit.
there wasn't enough kind of bickering between the family. You know, like if you really wanted to push that idea, and I agree with you on this point, that the kids are growing up and moving out, and like the son's lazy as hell, and the daughter's just really wanting independence. There should have been some clapping back and forth from like the mom to the daughter of like,
Perhaps
Mom,
you
you're
should
being too doty.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst that happened is that she'll go up and be like, hello daughter, do you want to play Scrabble? And she'll be like, no, I'm doing this right now. And
I'm
then
doing
the mom
homework.
would be like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, she didn't say she doesn't want to play Scrabble with you ever. She just said like, hey, like not right now.
Yeah, like, we gotta push that further. We gotta make the mom, like, the problem here in this circumstance. Because she usually isn't. She's a very nice character in these
I think
sort
character
of...
flaws aren't a bad thing, and I think
that would be very interesting for this movie too, and that's a really good point you bring up. I really like that, because she's been so supportive and helpful in the past 2 movies. Making her the problem seems like a very interesting wrench in the mix, for sure.
And it also seems like a very natural problem because of she is so supportive that it would be kind of hard for her to have to stop being so supportive. And I don't think they played that up enough, but... And I agree, and I don't even think necessarily the family strife has to be a big thing, but I think at this point, now that they're, like... Adults, they have to actually be characters now.
Yeah.
I think the excuse of them being child actors is kind of over.
Yeah, they should have...
You're just an actor now.
They have no characterization.
Like, the daughter's going into journalism. She could have been trying to peer into Antonio Banderas' whole thing and try to find out, like, oh, this guy's, like, fucking nuts, you know? This guy's fucking crazy.
She could have been finding fucking El Dorado. She could have been obsessed with that shit.
She could have, like, come up with her own codex and describe, like, oh, he's just using the bear or whatever. Like, he's using Paddington to get this. There's a lot of avenues.
The son only did, like, one thing. He made one silly little grabber thing to clear the windshield.
If he's gonna be lazy,
not great.
At least make him fucking lazy. He's like, he like doesn't do anything in the movie, but it's not even like he's purposefully not doing anything.
Yeah, like
he's just kind of on vacation and chilling.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's on vacation, so he wants to chill.
Yeah.
I get that the point is that like
he's a chillaxer.
He's a chillaxer. He's not motivated to do anything, but like.
Why don't we make that something?
Could have made a more interesting character trait for sure. Yeah.
You can look like the character, son.
I think the big issue though.
Yeah.
Unless, did you have anything else to say?
No, I was going. Yeah, you bring up your thing.
Those 3 characters are the.
I think that they kind of. So this is a newer kind of crew. They're stepping in, and it's very clear. Based off of interviews, that they're very respectful of the legacy of Paddington 2 and tried very carefully to keep the spirit going, but I think because of that, it's a little too derivative of the second one for me to be like, this is great.
Yeah.
Because again, we have in Antonio Banderas the same villain dynamic. We have with Mr. Brown the same character arc all over again, and I'd even argue that Paddington 1 also had that character arc to an extent. But a little less so.
Paddington 2 pushed Mr. Brown to a point of full change, and this one should have had him try to be like, alright, now that he's changed more and is willing to take more risks and whatnot, maybe he should be the backbone of the family for this one, trying to really tie them together while mom's having a hard time. Yeah, he should have broken all of his bones in this movie. He should have sacrificed himself and stop the plane with his body. Piccolo running. Ah!
He should have gotten into a fist fight with Antonio Banderas.
Sword
he should have gotten into a fist fight.
He should have gotten into a sword fight. A sword fight. Make Antonio Banderas do a Zorro thing again. And just ding, ding, ding. You know.
I actually think that would be sick.
That would be sick as hell. He can do it.
He can do it.
He is Zorro.
He is Zorro.
And so,
IRL.
because of that, I don't feel like it's necessarily the best at pushing everything forward. I think it pushes Paddington forward.
Yes. That's where I was going to go.
But he's the only one.
Yeah, and Paddington's pushed forward really well, but go ahead, Shane.
I mean, like, I'm glad Paddington's pushed forward. Like, I'm happy about that, but you
the
can
film
ask
is
for,
named Paddington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they had to get one guy right, I'd hope it's him.
That's true.
Yeah, if they
But
got every other character right and not Paddington, it would be worse.
I think the thing that really justifies this film, though, is Paddington is meant to be an immigrant moving to the, like, England / United Kingdom's allegory.
Yeah.
Which I think each film has pushed forward that immigrant experience theme a little bit further, and this one pushes forward the idea of becoming a citizen of England, but still wanting to, or feeling the need to be a little bit in touch with where you came from.
Yeah, to be in touch with his cultural roots and to be in touch with what built him. And being in England for so long, he kind of started feeling disconnected from that. So this was a great, you know, he wanted to visit Aunt Lucy anyway, you know.
You can take the bear out of Peru, but you can't take Peru out of the bear. But the thing is, like, the film kind of shows it's not necessarily true. Like, you know, like, he's not really that careful navigating the environment. He is very lost and confused, and at this point, I think he's a strong enough, like, person to persevere through that. But still, it's not like, you know, it's an easy trip for him.
How old is Paddington?
Dude, good question. He probably shouldn't be a kid anymore.
Yeah, he should be like a full-size bear.
But
next movie, he's just.
So again, in this movie, he learns where he culturally is from and what his heritage is. And the Brown family are honest. I think it is sweet. They're very happy for him and kind of get ready to be like, well, all right, this is his people, and I'm sure he wants to stay here. But he does ask, like, hey, no, at this point, you guys are my family. They're like where I came from, but you guys are my family, and England is my home. I will always value where I came from, but I also value where I am. And I think that that is a very well done, and I think pretty mature theme for a kids movie that I think is pretty well done and pretty respectfully tackled. And so I think
it's really heartfelt too, and it feels very just true to that type of experience, you know. The dual citizenship angle, and how even though Paddington got that refresher of what, you know, his home originally was like, everything still has changed for the most part, and there's a lot of shifting parts in his life, and he really just wants to be with who he calls family, as you said.
I think that is what makes it a pretty good sequel, but everything else I don't think gets followed up on fantastically.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than that,
we already kind of mentioned how the visuals are better and how the score is
really
really good.
Better, right?
I do think though that they did, speaking of repetition, they reused like the painting motif.
Yeah.
And they reused the tree motif on the wall, and the tree one I forgive a little more because I think they did it in all three.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like, listen, I get it. I get it. I see.
And they kind of did the same dollhouse motif as well, where they kind of shot the side of the building. You see everyone in their rooms and whatnot at the Brown house.
That's fine.
Which I think, there's good levels of repetition, but then there's ones that kind of harken on the same points where it doesn't build, like we said.
Most certainly.
Where it feels more like just going like, oh yeah, they certainly did that in the last movie.
Yeah. I felt like the painting parts weren't really that. I felt like in Paddington 2, like the sketching and painting felt way more energetic and lively, while in this it felt a little more sterile. You know, it felt a little more like basic of like, look at the pretty painting of the family.
Here's a question. If you were to watch Paddington 3 first and then watch Paddington 2, would your opinion of Paddington 2 be worse?
No, because that's not how time works for me.
Well,
I
think
I see which one came first, and then I'm able to, in my brain, attribute the credit to where it goes. But for other people, maybe.
For other people, maybe. I definitely think. I do still think that Paddington 2 is a stronger overall package. So I think, nonetheless, I would still prefer Paddington 2 over 3. But I mean, in Peru is still really good. You know, like I still really enjoyed it for the time that we spent watching it.
the initial premise of Paddington Goes to Prison is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. This one being Paddington Goes to El Dorado is hilarious, but it kind of pushes it
in a different way.
Yeah,
it's a different. It's more adventure-y.
Yeah, this one's a little more. In my case too, was a little more head scratching and like, okay, sure, you know, like Paddington in Prison's just off the rip hilarious. You're like, what the fuck? There's a, you know, use a point.
But this little sweetheart in jail.
Yeah.
In 10 to 20 years for burglary.
Yeah.
He got fucking profiled.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Some other fun facts about this movie. The character Gina, who Antonio Banderas' daughter, was originally meant to be played by Rachel Ziegler, but the SAG-AFTRA strikes in the United States pulled her back, and she was replaced by Carla Tous, I think it is, or Taus. I don't know how to say it. But I think that was interesting. That's another recast that we really didn't see because of Rachel Ziegler's character technically didn't exist.
Yeah. I'm sure if they had had Rachel Ziegler, she would have been more important to the story.
Yeah, probably.
Because more star power.
The replacement was just like an actress that they found. Like, I don't think she's a star.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. As opposed to Rachel Ziegler, she is definitely a movie star.
Yeah. I mean, now Rachel Ziegler is in all the promotional and whatnot because she's the new Snow White and everything. And that looks like a travesty of a trailer.
Yeah, I can't wait to... Dude, that trailer looks so terrible.
I can't wait to never talk about that on this podcast. We'll never talk about it. No.
I can't wait for Paddington 4. Paddington Goes to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Dude, I hope
Peter Capaldi's there.
Yeah, I hope Peter Capaldi's there because he's not in this one.
Yeah, there is. I think it is a little sad too. Some of the characters from the first two movies who were kind of regulars either aren't in it or aren't in it very much. Like the Postman and like a couple of the other characters are in it for like a scene at the beginning where he gets his citizenship. Mr. Gruber shows up in I think a really good scene because Mr. Gruber is an immigrant who moved to the UK, and I think that they always share good scenes together where he's like, "Hey, it's okay to have mixed feelings about like becoming a citizen. Like that's okay, that happens." I think it's a very good scene, but it's also the only scene he's in. Peter Capaldi as Mr. Curry is nowhere to be found, and that's
really upsetting. It's very sad. Yeah. I kind of wish that Capaldi could have Capaldi'd up in just one. Yeah.
We've had a good streak going.
I think even at the end of the movie too, that would have been the perfect chance for him to like flip out and be like, "There's more than one bear." Oh God!
And then when Paddington got his citizenship, to be like, a bear? A British citizen? Oh, what the heck? They even got Hugh Grant back as Phoenix Buchanan at the end to meet all the bears, and he's like, I do think it's funny that he actually was intended to maybe be like a character in this one.
Oh, like more.
They went like, yeah, no, it probably wouldn't work. Let's just throw him in as a cameo at the end.
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, it's just them trying to figure out how to navigate the Peru wilderness with crazed movie star Phoenix Buchanan instead of Antonio Banderas.
I would love that actually.
That actually would be really fun. He's like, and here's where we could film our next great movie. At El Dorado.
By a snake.
Yeah. Then he gets attacked by a panther or something.
But they thought it was a Paddington thing to do for him to be forgiven and for him to go visit him in jail. And I think he has a funny scene, and he tries to like recruit a bunch of Paddington's family to be in his Little Red Riding Hood play.
Yeah, where he's Goldilocks, and he's like, "Your mama, your papa, and you, yes, you come up here, your baby." You know, like, it's just really good.
He's great.
He's so good.
I do like that he also seems to be totally chill with Paddington too. Like likewise, like they both kind
of they're homies. It's just like, yes, I'm in jail now, but I get to do my plays in jail.
It's like, actually, this is pretty great, Paddington.
Jail's really nice in the Paddington world.
Another character who got recast in real life, Queen Elizabeth, appeared in a portrait with Paddington in his room, and she got recast in real life by King Charles.
They changed the portrait?
No, in real life, because she died.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like
in real life.
In Paddington's room, like they hung up, they removed the queen and
they had that ready before she died, And so it's just a photo. I pointed it out to Angela. It was like that's a picture of him with the queen.
Yeah.
And she died before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sad.
Paddington the Queen. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
That was the scene in the movie. That was like a commercial.
Michael Bonds, who's the creator of the
Look that
series, also showed up as a stamp.
Oh.
But yeah, I think Paddington in Peru is a worthy sequel to Paddington 2. I don't think it's fantastic as a sequel, but I do think it's a fun, solid movie to bring your children to in the theaters. I think it's probably better than most of the films made for kids in the past like 5 years or so.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty fun all around, and I hope they make more. Personally, Paddington goes to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
I think they can do one more. I will be upset if the next one isn't like better than this one.
Yeah. I think the next one definitely needs to reevaluate whatever its main conflict is, its main antagonist, and just kind of really tackle what would best work deeply personally for the Brown family and Paddington in conjunction with each other. And especially with the extra bears from Peru that they could call upon or play with. This next one has a lot of opportunities. Let's just see if they stick the landing.
Do you guys think they might Diary of a Wimpy Kid it?
Reset? Soft reset?
Yeah, soft reset, change the entire cast around so that the kids are like young again.
I think it's too late for that.
I think
like,
so.
After the second movie, possible.
Yeah, I think the fact that
they're fucking adults.
Yeah, the fact that they leaned into them being
That's
college
exactly
age
my point.
this time, I think
like the next movie, like the girl just can't be in the house. She has to have a job.
She has to live wherever she went.
What if they Christopher Robin it? The kids are older and Paddington has to go to them because there's something. Deal with parents at old age and how the kids have to come back and help take care of them, and Paddington is the reuniting factor.
Like small child.
Mrs. Brown has cancer.
Mrs. Brown has cancer. You have to come home. Oh my God.
It's so messed up.
Yeah, that's terrible, but they should do it. They should do it now.
But yeah, is there anything you guys have to say to wrap us up here today?
Make sure you always carry a marmalade sandwich.
Yeah,
You
either
never know when it will come in handy.
in a hood.
I had some marmalade yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Was it
It
good?
was pretty good.
Yeah.
Of course it's good. It's marmalade.
It's marmalade.
Fucking like orange jelly, bro. Like it's
Yeah,
tasty.
nice and citrusy in my tummy.
That was the Queen's favorite food.
God bless.
Yeah.
God bless the Queen.
Not like brown sludge.
No, it's marmalade sandwiches.
and beans. Marmalade and beans.
But thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of the Super Shenanigans Variety Hour. We will see you whenever is convenient.
Yeah. Next time we're doing Captain America.
Yeah.
No!
Paddington Brave New World. Let's go.
No.